Two things. One, it's not a full $84 million, so stop with that. It's fool's gold. My rookie contract was $49 million. I didn't see $49 million. So a lot of that is fool's gold.
Okay, so $50 million.
So it gets thrown out there. It's fool's gold.
Okay, so the franchises are similar in where they are in their rebuilds.
Right.
Detroit and Jacksonville, nothing tells you that more than their records last year. Jacksonville will have the number 1 pick in next month's draft. Detroit will have the number 2 pick in next month's draft. Now, Jacksonville does have a rookie quarterback. The Lions do not. But at the same time, these two franchises are on a similar plane, but they're taking a very different path on how to get to the ultimate promised land, if you will, and that is the Super Bowl. Jacksonville spending money like crazy. $18 million a year for Christian Kirk. Today they signed the cornerback, Darius Williams.
Yep.
Joins a loaded free agent group. Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Brandon Sheriff. And then they've got a linebacker and a defensive tackle as well that they got to bring in. I'm not even going to try or attempt to say their names. Detroit, really methodical. They got a wide receiver from Jacksonville, DJ Chark, on a show-me deal, on a prove-it deal. I like it. And they're signing their own players. Tracy Walker is a really solid signing, in my opinion. 3 years, $25 million. And all the jokes about running it back with last year's 13-1 team, because they are signing a lot of their own free agents. So, Braylon Edwards, I will ask you, who has had a better off season up to this point, Jacksonville or Detroit?
I mean, you can make arguments for both of them. It depends on what you like. If you like a team that is going after high valued free agents, they're going to spin that bag. As you say, they're going after players that you know, players that have yards, players that have Pro Bowls, players that have proven themselves. In that case, you got to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you're talking about a team that is, very safe in the way that they're spending money, they're spending about their nucleus. They're trying to continue to create their identity. That is the Detroit Lions defense, which played decent towards the end of last season. Then, you look at the Detroit Lions. They're not spending a ton of money. They're spending quality move, not, more show me contracts like Maz just said, talking about DJ Chark. Show me money. Hey, you know what? You come in, prove it. If you prove it, then I pay you. I'm just not a fan of that. I like more of what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing. I think they add value to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence now has some people to throw to. I would have liked him to throw to DJ Chark. Maybe he would have. But now you get Christian Kirk, a guy that's been proven 4 years with the Arizona Cardinals. You get Zay Jones, a guy that Derek Carr last year talked a lot about. Derek Carr was high on Zay Jones. He won the game against the Baltimore Ravens, if you do remember. In overtime, he caught that pass. So just, looking at it from that, they're spending a lot of money, but they're aiming big. They're going in. They want to win it. We talk about J.C. Jackson. We talk about Khalil Mack. You talk about what the Chargers are doing. You talk about what the Rams are doing. You talk about these things. Everyone talks about the rookie deal. Well, guess what? They have a quarterback that's on his rookie deal. Now is the time to spend some money. Now is the time to go after it. Now is the time. And you're in a division where it's up for grabs. I mean, granted you have Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill is unreliable. He's inconsistent. Derrick Henry last year was hurt. You don't know where he would be at. The Julio Jones thing didn't seem to fit all the way. The Colts don't have a quarterback. So looking at it from that perspective, Houston is in a mess. They can legitimately go from fourth or worse to first, as we talked about. The Detroit Lions, I wish that they would spend a little bit more money, and I wish that they would bring in some of those perennial Pro Bowl players. Not a ton of them. I don't mind some of the move. Tracy Walker, great move. Bring in a Tyrann Mathieu to help him. And obviously Tyrann Mathieu signing with the Raiders, but bring in Tyrann Mathieu on the other side of Tracy Walker. You got the D-line. Look at DeMarcus Lawrence. Look at Bobby Wagner at the Mike linebacker position. You don't have to get a bunch of players like Jacksonville is doing, but to some extent, add a couple perennial Pro Bowlers that can go around the nucleus that you built last year, that you continuously built. That's where I think the Lions are dropping the ball.
With the exception of re-signing Tim Boyle to a contract, I absolutely love what the Detroit Lions are doing, because they're not out there chasing players. If there's a player out there that they believe will help this team not only this year but for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons, I believe they would go get that player. I don't know if there's a guy out there right now on this market at this price that they've missed out on.
Right.
And that is a big deal, because we mentioned the Allen Robinson thing yesterday. I mean, Allen Robinson is going to command $22 million a year. Is that the right thing for this franchise right now? Are they an Allen Robinson player away from competing for a Super Bowl?
I think the guy they should have went after, and we talked about it yesterday, is the safety from New Orleans, Marcus Williams.
Right.
But he was too expensive. And if you give him a choice, they gave him $70 million in Baltimore.
5 years, $70 million.
So if we offered him 75 or 80, that's the only way. If we offered him 80, maybe he'd come here. But if you offer him the same money or a few bucks more, why are you coming here when you can go to Baltimore?
Well, two things. One, I think we're downplaying the presentation. And I keep talking about the presentation, how you present yourself to a team, how you present the team, how you present the future, how you present what you're doing, how you present the city, how you present sponsorship, how you present all of that and your vision. Everybody says they love Dan Campbell. Everybody says they love what Brad Holmes is doing. Well, that's what you have to convey to free agents. That's what you have to convey to guys that you want to bring in. Like, Ryan, I understand that, hey, you know what? You don't want to go after the Christian Kirks. You don't want to spend the money for Allen Robinson. You don't want to get the big deals like a Marcus Williams. You don't want to pay him $72 million. Like, I understand that. But you're going to have to spend some money if you plan on winning.
Agreed.
Like, literally.
Agreed.
I keep hearing this thing, and luckily I just moved back to Detroit, 4 or 5 years ago. I'm relearning Detroit. I'm relearning the Lions. I'm relearning the pulse of the city. But what I continuously hear is they don't want the Lions to spend money, but they want to go to the Super Bowl. They want to up in Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, but they don't want to spend any money. They look at players and say, he's too expensive. He's too old. There's always an excuse when you mention a player. He's either I've heard 28 is too old. I heard this is too much. I heard, well, you know what? Yeah, he's at the end of his rope. Or I'm tired of hearing it. When you gonna make a move? 70 years? You got to make a move at some point.
Let me ask you this question. Do you believe, what's the better move? DJ Chark, 1 year, $10 million, or Christian Kirk, 4 years, $84 million?
Oh,
I mean,
you got your answer.
Two things. One, it's not a full $84 million, so stop with that. It's fool's gold. My rookie contract was $49 million. I didn't see $49 million. So a lot of that is fool's gold.
Okay, so $50 million.
So it gets thrown out there. It's fool's gold. Now, with that being said, it depends on what you want. If you believe Christian Kirk in that 4 year span with the Arizona Cardinals have shown you all you need to know, he's going to be a good guy, but you're scared of paying that money, then that's your guy. If you think that, if that's your logic, if DJ Chark is a guy you really believe in, and you believe that last year he would have come into his own minus the broken ankle.
Yeah.
Last year you believe, hey, he could be a good deal, good pick, free, and it's kind of cheap, then go for it. But with that being said, I like both deals. It's about what you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a team pretending to try to be first place in your division, or do you want a team that want to be the first place in your division?
And another aspect I like about the Lions, just kind of saving some of this cash too,
right,
is guys, every single day there seems to be another player cut. Whether it's Tyrann Mathieu, who ultimately signed with the Las Vegas Raiders, whether it's a Bobby Wagner, whether it's
Landon Collins
got cut today. I mean, there seems to be a wealth of guys in that 28 to 32 age range that continue to get cut. And when you just go out there and plop all your money on the table on day one, and you don't have the ability to maneuver or bring guys in as they become available, I think that's another aspect of this that I really like that Brad Holmes is doing, just taking a wait-and-see approach. And maybe you can, after the draft, there's some guys out there. Training camp, there will always be casualties. And if you have the cap space to go attack a position and a player that you really need, I think that's a winning formula.
When you're 3-13-1, there's a lot of players you really need.
Absolutely.
Let's call it spade a spade. If you're 3-13-1, there's a lot of players.
That's the point.
There's a lot of players you're going to need. And I understand that. Look, free agency really starts today. Free agency starts today at 4 o'clock. That's when the free agency market actually really starts. So we're still getting kind of ahead of ourselves in terms of what the Lions have done. Or at least me. I'm getting ahead of what they have not done, let's say it that way. So there's still plenty of guys out there, plenty of free agents out there. So we'll see what Brad Holmes really can do. There's 6 weeks into the NFL draft, and free agency starts today. So there's a lot of room and a lot of time to work some deals. I'm just saying, if you want to go after it, I want to see a GM. I want to see a coach. I want to see him go after some players. I'm not saying you got to spend all your money, but you got to mix some players to mix in with the Tracy Walkers, with the Charles Harrises, with the Jeff Okudas when he comes back, or Marty Oruwariye. When these guys come back, I want you to mix some players that are perennial Pro Bowlers. You can't have that leadership if you don't have leaders. You can't have that veteran experience if you don't have veteran experience. Like having Tyrann Mathieu, and I'm just using him as a snapshot.
Sure.
You have him on that team. That look at what he's done, and we keep talking about it. Everywhere he's gone, he's been a winner. And you know what he's going to do for a team in the Raiders? It's a perfect fit for him with the Raiders.
Who has had a more successful offseason up to this point, the Detroit Lions or the Jacksonville Jaguars? Two very similar franchises in where they are in their rebuilds, going about it in a very different way. The Lions just kind of methodically re-signing their own players. They did add DJ Chark, wide receiver, to a group that they absolutely had to upgrade there at wide receiver on a one-year, $10 million deal. That deal could get as high as $12 million. And Jacksonville is just spending money like crazy. But Braylon, just to continue on here, you were making a point about Tyrann Mathieu, who has won everywhere he's ever been. Why not go get a player like that?
Yeah, people look at it and say, oh, Tyrann Mathieu, he's in year 10. He's getting old. He's 29. He's got a lot of wear and tear. Like, Tyrann Mathieu is not only a winner. What was the biggest thing that the Raiders struggled with last year? The Raiders struggled with leadership. They struggled with off-the-field incidences. They struggled. That was where they were really bad at. Tyrann Mathieu comes to the team. Not only does he provide leadership from a football perspective, but just off the field. Ever since he got into his issues at LSU, he's been a whole different guy. He's been a very different guy since he's gotten the NFL, gotten his chances. He's talked about it very candidly. Just being excited, being in the moment, like living for today and knowing that at any moment it can taken away from you. So don't give it a chance to get taken away from you. So I think that's a great move by the Raiders, bringing him out there for leadership. But going back to the Detroit Lions, I just want to see them make some moves. You asked the question, was it the Jaguars or was it the Lions that have a better offseason? If the Lions make all these moves with bringing back everybody they had last year and a couple small, low-cost moves, and they win 5 games next year, did they win? You tell me.
Well, there's some guys out there I want you to look at. The best 5 defensive free agents still on the board, and there they are. So you still got a lot of talent out there to get. I'm not sure if the Lions are going to go after it. Tyrann Mathieu, as you were saying, Braylon. But is it his time to shine here now? We're not ready yet.
Well, that's my point. If I could jump in on this, because Braylon, you bring up a great point. But my thought process in talking about how I believe the Detroit Lions have had a more successful offseason, it's because, look, I could come out here, and I do come out here every day, and I say that the Detroit Lions are going to compete for a division. They're going to make the playoffs. I'd be disappointed if they don't make the playoffs. That's a lot. I do believe that to some extent. Yeah. But that's part of being ill as well. I have a mental illness when it comes to the Detroit Lions.
Yes, you do.
And I will fully admit that.
Don't worry. SMA can help you.
I will fully admit I'm one of the sickos that believes in this team every year. However, this is a 2 or 3 year plan to get good and stay good. And I don't believe there's a free agent on the board this year that
Stephen Gilmore
automatically turns this team into a 10, 11, 12 win team this year that will help them compete for a Super Bowl this year. But all these little things that they're doing now, building a foundation, I do believe that helps them, and they're not locked into a player long term that's going to cripple them in year 3 or year 4 of this rebuild, and I consider this year 2. So if you look at Jacksonville, if one of those guys that they signed doesn't work, I mean, some of these contracts will just cripple them moving forward if just one doesn't work out. And I'm thankful that Brad Holmes is doing it a little differently because he knows this is a long-term play. They'll improve this year, hopefully. We all believe that. Maybe 6, 7, 8 wins, heaven forbid. And then, next year, which would be year 3 of this regime, that's when you go for it.
Ryan, if I'm buying into that, let's say, you know what, I buy into what you're saying. I'm buying it. I pull my wallet out. Oh, you know what? Get my wallet out.
Buy some tickets.
Let me get my wallet out. Put my card on the table. I'm buying to what you're subscribing. Can I just make one suggestion to what you're subscribing?
Yes.
Don't have your blinders on and can miss potential great players that can be a part of your rebuild, that can be a part of that 3-year vision that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes talked about earlier in the season. Don't miss out on players that are available this year, like a Stephon Gilmore. I mean, I'm just throwing, it's one of the first names I saw out there, like a Stephon Gilmore, guy that won Defensive Player of the Year 3 years or 2 years ago. Don't miss out on a guy with your blinders on, so focused on low cost, low cost, low cost. Don't make a dumb move like the Jaguars, waiting to year 3, that you miss out on some great players. That's the only thing I will add to what I just bought. I pulled my wallet out, I bought it, but just don't have your blinders up, because there are some guys out.